Hey there guys, how's it going? It's Afraid and today I've got something just a little bit different for you. I run a little mini series called I Own, and all it pretty much is that when I play different games I like to upload a video on them just to talk to you guys and let you know what my opinions are of them, because I do feel like these days that whenever I play a game I kind of, YouTube is just so impactful now with me and my gaming that I just feel like I've got to upload a video and just express my opinions on whether I like the game or not. So today we'll be covering, as you can see, Bloodborne. Now, Bloodborne, prior to release, is a game that I had absolutely no interest in. Absolutely not. I knew it was from the Dark Souls series, and I'd never played a Dark Souls game, but I knew that they were really hard. I actually watched, I think, a Let's Play on it before, on Dark Souls 2, and I watched it, and I really enjoyed watching it, but it was a game that I looked at and I thought I just couldn't possibly play a game like this. But I watched a few trailers on Bloodborne and I looked at it and it looked a lot more colourful, a lot more fast paced than what Dark Souls 2 was. And I watched a beginning Let's Play of it, the first half hour or whatever it was, and I watched it and I thought, I'm really tempted by this. I really could pick this game up. So one thing came to another. I took a load of games back to game and got a load of money, to be honest, quite a lot of money to play with, in-store credit or whatever it was. And I saw Bloodborne sitting there and I was just like, yeah, go on then, I'll pick it up and let's give it a go. And my honest opinion so far is that I am so glad that I did pick up this game. This game by far for me is the best PS4 exclusive that they got out so far. How I would describe it is an open world action RPG, and I do use the term open world very loosely because it's a very interesting level design. Basically you move into from area to area, and when you move into like a new area, it's very like sectioned off with doors which you cannot open, but one door you can open. So you go through that door and you work your way, killing a few grunts and killing a few other people, and then you come up to the door which you could have gone through. It's very confusing and I wish I could explain it better over a video, but it's really interesting. But once you've opened all the doors, it then becomes pretty much an open world where you can go anywhere. But one thing I will say about Bloodborne is that it's no joke. This game is difficult, and I know a few people who are very, very good at video games. Just in general, they pick up a game, they're very good at it, but they pick up Bloodborne or a Dark Souls, but they really struggle with it. And I know this isn't the case for everyone. I watch people on Twitch and things like that when they play Dark Souls and Bloodborne and they're really good at it, and I just think, how are you so good at this? I think just people might have just a natural talent when it comes to these type of games. But in the background here you're seeing this is my it's my second boss fight, but it's the first official boss of this game, because the first boss, which is the Cleric Beast I think it's called, is actually an optional boss. You haven't actually got to face him, but this one was the first like proper difficult challenge that I had. I mean, the first boss that I'd done, which you don't have to do, was pretty easy. I'd say I'd probably done in my second attempt, but I think this was like my fourth or fifth attempt to kill this guy, and he was all good all the way up until the point where he gets down to a certain health, and then like here he turns straight into a werewolf or something like that. And yeah, this guy, he just picks up his pace, he's quick, and he's just so difficult to evade, and as you can see I'm just keep regenning my health. But yeah, this was quite difficult for me to do, especially alone anyway. Let's talk about that yet. So you can do co-op. I've actually got a friend who is quite high up on it. I think you could do co-op with friends as long as they're in the same kind of level as you. I think there's like a 10 level gap, so if I'm like level 23 and he's 33 we can play together, but if he's 34 then I can't invite him to my world. So it kind of works on that principle. I think you could pick up randomers as well. Basically you've got this little item which is like a bell. You ring the bell, and when other people are online and playing, they can hear that bell and then ring their own bell to then join you, sort of thing, and they can join you in your world and help you do like bosses and difficult parts of the game. So that's really good. It's a bit of a funny way of implementing like a multiplayer thing, because there is PvP as well, because you can call for people to come in and they can actually ring a different type of bell which will join your game, but they will attack you. They'll be like an enemy to you, and that I haven't actually encountered that at all, but I can imagine that being so difficult, especially if someone comes in like 10 levels above you and has got all the best gear or whatever. And yeah, I never encountered that, thankfully. If any of you have played Bloodborne and if there is a story to this game, can someone please explain it to me, because I have literally no idea. I just seem to be the game, it just puts you in this world. I think you're in some kind of dream or something, and you become this hunter, and you've got to go around and kill all these beasts that are kind of invaded this place, or I don't know if it's like the plague, or I have no idea what is going on, to be honest. But what they do, which is quite interesting, is that like you can get bases of the story. There are NPCs in the game which you can go up to and talk to. There's normally like a light on the window, you can go up and talk to people. They don't really talk a lot of sense, to be honest. I mean, there's a handful of people that will give you a task to do or ask you to go somewhere or whatever, but it doesn't really tell you that much of a story. But I have found that when you pick up different items or items that you think that are completely irrelevant to your character or whatever, they have got kind of pieces of story in there, which is really interesting to me, because although this isn't like a cutscene typical type of game with a normal story or whatever, it's literally within like the items and little bits of NPC dialogue. It really isn't that much different to a game like Destiny, where Destiny hasn't really got... In fact, I would argue that Destiny's probably got even more of a story when you look at it at face value, because it has got cutscenes, it has got, you know, a terrible story, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it's a better story, but you have to go through like the Grimoire cards or whatever it is on Destiny, and it's kind of similar to Bloodborne, where you've got to go through the items and actually read about exactly what's going on and why you're here and why this item's there, and it's really interesting. I think it's a game that if you've got a good solid few hours to play. It's not a game that I think that you can dip in casually. Like, I mean, there's been many instances where I've had like an hour spare, I jump on, you know, like on Destiny or other games, you know, but definitely not Bloodborne. Bloodborne is a game that I like to sit down, get immersed, and I spend a good few hours when I play. I don't want to ramble on too much longer about Bloodborne, but I do want to say that I do recommend it. If you own a PS4 and you're looking at this game thinking, shall I, shan't I would say this is a must buy. If this is definitely not something that you're interested in, or like the whole genre itself, obviously, if you didn't enjoy Dark Souls, then obviously I wouldn't recommend it to you. But if you're just looking for something just a little bit different, something very challenging, don't get very challenging, there's loads of like walkthroughs and stuff on YouTube which I've watched many times, and I have been very lucky in certain instances, because like I've got friends that play this game as well who are a little bit, you know, higher level than me, and sometimes they even wait for me to catch up so they can help me. It's quite, you know, it's quite good for me personally. But yeah, if you feel like you're up for a challenge, you're up for something that's very deep, and you know, all I can really say is that it's really challenging and it's really fun. It is, the combat on this game is so satisfying, it really is. When you kill someone that you've been trying to kill for so long and then you finally kill them, you do get that fist pump feeling where you want to jump up and go, yes, done him, and it's a really satisfying feeling. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a rating, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, guys.